I saw Jesse Owens greeted by the Grand Chancellor of this country, as a brilliant sun peeped out through the clouds. I saw a vast crowd of some 85,000 or 90,000 people stand up and cheer him to the echo. The 1936 Olympics, hosted in Berlin, Germany, the very heart of the Nazi Third Reich, had been staged as a proving ground for Hitler's vision of racial and Germanic superiority. Hitler believed the Olympics that year would serve as a proof that his rising country was founded on values and vision that would be the foundation of a new world order. However, a black track and field athlete named Jesse Owens would ultimately win 4 gold medals at these Olympics, upending not only Hitler's plans, but a turning point away from 300 years of white supremacist beliefs and stereotypes. By competing and succeeding in Nazi Germany, a regime which was founded on ideals of eugenics and extreme racism, Owens dispelled racist ideologies which dated back hundreds of years. In doing so, Owens paved a path for the success of black athletes, no longer limited by the confines of bigotry. During the 17th century, the transatlantic slave trade began to develop along with the plantation economies of the Americas. In order to justify the sale of human beings, the origins of white supremacy began to develop, which classified Africans as biologically and intellectually inferior to white Europeans. In the 20th century, these conceptions survived in the form of eugenics, a false progressive scientific doctrine which classified people's intellectual and biological abilities based on race and ethnicity.
So the eugenics movement kind of emerges in England, actually, kind of right at the same time that, evolution and Darwinism is coming to the fore, right? So it's kind of an offshoot.
Theories of eugenics quickly spread to the US, where they gathered popularity in the 20th century. Eugenics was accepted as academic and was taught at Harvard as well as other Ivy League schools.
Kind of acceptance, at least in the kind of intellectual classes, both in the UK and America and Germany.
After Adolf Hitler seized power in 1933, the eugenic ideals were also adopted by the Nazi Reich. Hitler was a strong believer in eugenics and believed in the dominance of the German race over all others. Germany was scheduled to host the 1936 Olympics in Berlin. Hitler planned to demonstrate ideals of eugenics at the Olympics and to promote the proposed superiority of his Aryan master race. It was at this time that the African-American track and field athlete Jesse Owens was preparing to participate in the Olympics. Owens was born to a poor family of sharecroppers in Alabama in 1913. In 1922, Owens and his family moved to Cleveland, Ohio. Owens excelled at track and field in high school. He enrolled in Ohio State University, where he won 8 NCAA championships in 1935-36. These profound athletic victories allowed Jesse Owens entry into the foreboding 1936 Olympics. Walter White, the secretary of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, wrote a letter to Owens detailing why he thought Owens should not attend the Olympics. White and many others who supported civil rights at the time were against Owens' participation because they believed it would legitimize a highly racist regime, therefore sanctioning racism at home. Against the advice from White and from many other civil rights advocates, Owens made the decision to participate in the Games. In early August of 1936, the Games began. Owens achieved a gold medal in the 100-yard dash, barely beating his Dutch opponent, Tinus Ozendarp, by 2/3 of a second.
Well, my biggest thrill was when I won the 100-yard dash. An American flag went up, and they were playing the Stars Spangled Banner. And we stood up there and salute, and it was really a marvelous thing.
Owens went on to beat German athlete Luz Long at the long jump with a leap of 8.06 meters, a mere few inches shorter than his personal record. In his third event on August 5th, Owens went on to once again win the gold medal in the 200-yard dash. In his fourth event, Owens and his teammates, Ralph Metcalfe, Foy Draper, and Frank Wyckoff, won another gold medal on August 9th, this time in the 4x100 relay event. Owens became the only American to win 4 gold medals in track and field at an Olympic level, a record he held until 1984. Owens stated that the key to his success was, "I let my feet spend as little time on the ground as possible, from the air fast down and from the ground fast up."
Owens' achievements brought both fame and recognition to the US's track team at an Olympics which specifically sought to project the power of emergent Nazi Germany.
More crucially, however, was the impact Owens had in dispelling ideals of eugenics. During the 1930s, eugenics were at their peak in both the US and Germany. They promoted the idea that Africans lacked cognitive and moral abilities in comparison to white Europeans. The act of a black man winning such a decisive string of victories in the most racist regime in the world was extremely powerful. By accomplishing this, Owens upended not only Hitler's plans to demonstrate the superiority of white Europeans, but also the eugenicist beliefs that were so common at the time. Many contemporaries, including Hitler himself, regarded his victory to be counterintuitive. Hitler racistly attributed Owens' victory to only the brute strength of his African physique. Eugenic principles in the US also attributed black athletic success to raw strength. However, this is far from the case. Winning any athletic competition, let alone the Olympics, takes far more than a strong physique. It takes the ability to learn and grow, a mental discipline to show up and demonstrate consistent effort, and the cognitive ability to perfect one's techniques. Eugenics doubted black people's ability to perform in that way, and by winning, Owens disproved these ideals, not only in Germany, but in America as well, creating a turning point in history away from eugenics. During the 1940s, the scope of the atrocities in Nazi Germany came to light, and eugenic principles were considered unpopular and false in both the academic community and the general public of the US.
And so the fact that people could draw a parallel between the two.
Although Owens wasn't the direct catalyst for this, his efforts against eugenics were instrumental for African Americans in sports. In the early 20th century, sports were considered to be social capital in the United States. The idea of athletic competition was instrumental for a social democracy and was considered extremely important for the country. The action of an African American leading the U.S. to victory in such an important global competition opened the path for other African Americans to compete in athleticism.
The most notable of these was the famous baseball player Jackie Robinson. Robinson broke the color line in baseball, becoming the first black player in the MLB. Other African Americans that followed Jesse Owens included Muhammad Ali, who is often regarded as the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time, Althea Gibson, who was the first black person to compete in international tennis, and Ronnie Coleman, who was one of the most successful bodybuilders of the late 20th century. On a broader scale, Jesse's victory brought recognition to African American excellence, a sizable contribution to the budding civil rights and decolonization movements that would occur over the next 40 years. In 1960, the Year of Africa allowed 17 African nations to gain their independence, a watershed moment for global equality. And the 1964 Civil Rights Act was a turning point towards the end of segregation and the rise of racial equality in the United States. In the long term, Jesse's achievements set the stage for black athleticism in the modern day. Some notable examples include Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James, who are regarded as some of the best NBA players of all time. Usain Bolt and Lamont Marcel Jacobs have both been deemed as the fastest runners in the world during the last 10 years, and Serena Williams is one of the greatest tennis players of all time. Jesse Owens created a platform for these athletes to succeed today, in a time when athletic championships were extremely racist. Today, the Olympic Games are far more integrated than they were during the 1936 competitions. The Olympic Games now guarantees participation for people of all races, genders, and sexual orientations, and is instrumental in uniting people across the world, rather than dividing them. Jesse Owens' victories in the 1936 Olympics are often viewed as a footnote in history. Overshadowed by the turbulent politics which preceded World War II, Owens' most important accomplishment is often viewed and remembered in narrow, simple ways. In point of fact, in just 4 short events, and in just a handful of days, Owens would undo centuries of attitudes and beliefs about people of color, trailblazing a path for the success of black athletes. Yet, incidents such as the 2022 Buffalo, New York shooting, which targeted African Americans, reveal that the world is still rampant with racial prejudice. Owens may have upended history's views of black athletes, creating a turning point in history, but it will take all of us to reverse the insidious racism that sickens our broader human history still today.